Hi there, net neighbor. JP here. Thanks for joining me for this vlog, I guess. Basically my first one for March 31st, 2015. Now, and I'm sorry for the quality of this video. All I have is an old digital camera that also takes video. I don't have a phone or anything with even whatever the good quality is that I've seen phones take nowadays. But anyway, I want to talk about gamers and outcasts in general in life, and Indiana's Religious Freedom Restoration Act, or as I like to call it, the Freedom from Profit Act, which is what it seems to be turning out to be. The thing is, gamers and atheists and any other culture or person, gingers, whatever you want to call it, everybody has been outcast. Most people have been outcast at times in their life, whether it was in school or business or whatever. Everybody has a second-class citizen status in some way, or they've experienced discrimination like this. If it was unofficial and individual, like in school with bullies. I'm overweight. I've always been overweight. I've been picked on. I've been a victim of discrimination. I'm 3/32 Cherokee, so I'm not totally white. I'm mostly white. But Indians are discriminated against, Native Americans. Races, it doesn't matter. I've got glasses. You could discriminate against me for having glasses. I'm interested in that. But the thing is gamers, role-playing gamers, tabletop gamers, and any gamers, anybody that has to actually deal and interact with the public itself on a large scale in an everyday way. Nobody is for this. They can't be, because that's not the world they live in. You have to interact with other people that are different than you. You just have to. That's how it is. You can't live in this bubble. It's not possible. If you're rich, maybe it is. It's not possible for anybody else. You have to deal with people you don't like, or you don't know, or you don't understand, that have ideas entirely different than yours. Gamers understand discrimination. Most people understand discrimination, and they don't like it. D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, and back in the 70s and 80s, the anti-D&D thing, Mothers Against Dungeons & Dragons, and people got killed playing in the steam tunnels and all that absolute crap. It was paranoia. It's McCarthyism. It's commies. It's the Reds coming for your children or whatever. It's nonsense, and it's alarmist, and it's paranoid, and it's hurtful. All it does is make people fear, and that's not good. That's not healthy. There's nothing constructive about this. There's nothing realistic about this. All this does is foster suspicion and divisiveness, and gamers are against that because I think gamers have an interestingly unique aspect, except for probably the LGBT community and people with really niche interests or concerns, where it's really hard to find people of like minds. Because gamers, a lot of people live in places that don't, role-playing is not big for them. It's not widespread. A lot of people don't know about it, or even it's out of vogue. Even if there are gamers, they're not considered popular. They're geeks and losers, and so people really have to take what they can get. If they find a group somewhere to game with, they pretty much have to take it. I mean, you have to have some discernment. But gamers learn to get along with other people. They learn to get along with other gamers, other races, other religions, political affiliations, whatever. Because they put that aside. They can minimize that and say, well, I might disagree with them here, but they play a really good character. They tell a really good story. They're really clever. They run the game really well. My GM's a really good GM, even if I don't agree with him on a lot of other things. Gamers are inclusive. Really. There's very few gamers that are against other people, outside things unfamiliar to them. But gamers don't have xenophobia. Gamers are intensely social because of the nature of the dynamics of role-playing games. You have to be social. It is a social activity. You cannot not be social. There are people that roll dice. They'll sit there and roll dice and wait for their turn but not really interact. But they're still social. They're there because they enjoy that. they may not do much, and it may not seem like they appreciate it, but they could be doing anything else, but they're not. They're there for a reason. They do appreciate that socialness. And to think that there are people that entirely reject that, it shows that they are so out of touch with humanity, with their fellow man. Because I've known rich gamers, people that had their own businesses and traveled the world and have sports cars and things like that. And, you know, they're still gamers. They still understand that you can't discriminate against people. You have no customer base, no socialization, no group. And if you don't have that, then you don't have anything. It's social suicide. It's political suicide. You can't do that. And so, surprisingly, or not, Gen Con is talking about, you know, maybe having to relocate from Indiana, where it's been going on, and I think they said that was a $50 million profit for Indiana. I'm not sure, something like that. And to me, that seems significant enough that the governor and the people in charge should have taken notice. George Takei, Sulu from Star Trek, of course, is against this, being the gay. But then other companies are joining in, people that could discriminate if they wanted to. Large companies, corporations that are also people, my friend. It's weird that they don't need to discriminate. They don't need this law. It's strange. I wonder why. It's almost like they don't really have any need or reason to discriminate against people because they want money. I guess they have this strange concept that businesses should be about making money, and when you reduce your customer base, you don't make money. I don't know if that's not the case in Indiana, if there's some other way to make money with a business that doesn't involve commerce. I'm not sure that that's possible, but apparently it is. But I think this is great for gamers to see this, because this actually does justify and vindicate gamers being socially progressive, being liberal. Maybe it was because they were forced to be, but it's irrelevant now because they are. Because you don't want injustice. And that's what this is injustice for other people. Because it could be gays being discriminated against, it could be black people, it could be gamers. They could say, I don't agree with you playing D&D because it's against my religion somehow, even though it's not. So it's not the fact that this is against gays, although it probably is. It's most likely it is, because, I mean, how many major issues are there that they talk about that they're worried about having to be faced with? Anyway, I just wanted to make this. I wanted to say that I appreciate the people in Indiana that are against this, that think this is awful. I empathize with you. I've seen a lot of posts over the past few days from people that are, you know, like I said, that are just absolutely horrified by this and want to move and everything else. And people are saying they're trying to get some initiatives started to remove the governor, to repeal the law. I want to thank the companies. I'm proud of these people. They're actually standing up against something that's clearly wrong, and which surprises, of course, the people that passed the law, because they didn't think anybody would do that. To the few business owners and people that think it should be okay to do this, that aren't actually maliciously racist or bigoted or whatever, that really think that this is a social freedom issue, that they should be able to do this, I can kind of understand your stance on it, but it's wrong. I'm sorry. People thought it was fine to discriminate against black people too. Eventually, that turned out to be the wrong side of history. This will too. You can't discriminate against people. You've got to treat people decently. You have to treat people with respect and have them have the same rights that you do. I know for some people that sucks, to think they don't have unique rights, but they don't. And so I just think it's time for these business owners, supposedly, to put on the big boy pants and come and do business like everybody else, or go back to whatever hole you're in. Thanks.